Hi, today I'm going to give an introduction into the Virgin Atlantic Flying Club. I'm going to give my view on what it is. I'll explain how I collect points and then a very brief introduction into how I use those points.
3, 2, 1, go.
So before we get into the video, here's just a few questions that I found on social media relating to Virgin Atlantic, whether it's the Flying Club or just Virgin in general.
Anyone used Virgin points for flights to Vegas?
I'm thinking of using my Virgin points to upgrade to upper class next year. I have 87,480 points. Is that enough for a full round trip or just one way? I have never used points before, so any help would be appreciated.
So what is the Virgin Atlantic Flying Club? In its most basic format, it's a loyalty program. It's the Virgin Group offering to get you to try and entice you to come back and spend your money. It really is as simple as that. The way that I see it, there is two different types of points that you can collect. There's firstly tier points and then there's flying points. So tier points, these are gained by taking flights. The more flights that you take, the more points that you get. The higher the cabin class that you travel in, the more points that you get. Yeah, so 3 different levels of tier points. Entry level is red, moving on to silver if you get enough points, then moving on to gold if you get enough, even more points. Not going to go into, won't go into tier points any further than that. Flying points though, this is what I use and this is what I look to collect, let's say. So how do I collect flying points? May refer to these as Virgin points as well. On the screen then you can see a quick screenshot. This screenshot has just got some of the apps from the Virgin family that I personally use. So top left there, it's credit card. I know not everybody has a credit card, but the first time Louise and I went to Vegas, we came back, realised that we was going to go straight back. I cancelled one or two of my other credit cards, took out a Virgin credit card because I knew that I could get points to save for future flights. Virgin have 2 types of credit card. There's one that you pay an annual fee for, and then there's one that you don't. Again, personally, I've got the one that you do pay an annual fee. I pay £160 a year, and the reason I chose that, it gives me more points per pound that I spend. So I use my credit card for everything. When I fill the car up, I use my credit card. Buying groceries, I use the credit card. Yeah. So at the end of the month, I then just pay off the credit card. So that's the first way that I get. I'm not going to go into a credit card too much. I'll come back to something else later on that I can get from the credit card. Second app across then is Virgin Red. Again, before going to Vegas, never heard of Virgin Red previously, but got back, signed up for this, and now I use it quite often. If I am ordering a takeaway, I do it through the Virgin Red app. So let's say I'm ordering through Deliveroo or Just Eat or whichever delivery service. I go through Virgin Red, click on whichever link it is, text me onto that website, order my takeaway. You can use high street shopping through Virgin Red. There is also some free-to-play games on Virgin Red. Not slot machines, like I say, they're just a few different games. I've won a couple of times on here. They refresh every week. Then there's just random prizes. I've won 2,000 points. I've won 5,000 points. So it's just, again, another easy way of collecting Virgin points. The next app on there that we've seen there is Virgin Atlantic. We've already said that. I book direct with Virgin Atlantic and I use that, and I'll come on to that very briefly at the end. The final app on the top then, again, I didn't know this was a thing, but Virgin Train Ticketing app. That first time we came back from Vegas, at the time, Louise was getting the train every day to commute to work. It was costing her 22, 23, 25 pounds a day to get a train ticket. So when we stumbled across this Virgin train ticketing app, instead of buying it at the train station, her daily ticket, weekly ticket, monthly ticket, whatever it is that we was doing, we bought the tickets through this app. For every £1 that you spend through the Virgin train ticketing app, we was getting 3 Virgin points. So let's say £25 a day for the pleasure of Louise to go to work. That was 75 points every day. Whatever that works out at, what's that? 150, 300, 375 points a week, just for the pleasure of going to work, for money that we was spending anyway. So it was an easy win for us. Moving down to the bottom row then of that screenshot, there is Virgin Wines. This is Virgin's wine club that they have. For anybody that's part of a wine club, you know exactly how these work. Every month I put in X amount of money into that wine club, and then whenever I buy a case of wine, the money's already there. I get points for spending money on Virgin Wines. It's as simple as that. Again, when we came back from Vegas the first time, I was part of a wine club anyway. I just cancelled my subscription with that club and joined Virgin Wines anyway. So again, I was already spending the money. This way, I get points for spending money that I was going to spend anyway. The next two I've not used as yet, Virgin Hotels and Virgin Voyages. But you can certainly spend points to go and get a night at a hotel, or indeed a Virgin Voyage as well. But as yet, I have not used those. So that's sort of the Virgin group, so to speak. Other ways that I get points as well, going back to the credit card. As I said, I have the credit card that I pay an annual fee for, as well as giving me more points per pound for my spendage. There is also a voucher that you get with the Virgin credit card, with both types of credit card. For the one that I've got, if I spend over £10,000 in that 12-month period, then I get a voucher. If you have the credit card that you don't have to have an annual fee for, you have to spend £20,000 per year. But that voucher, again, this will depend on what tier level that you are at. So if you are at the entry level, the red tier, that voucher is worth 75,000 points to you. If you're at silver or gold tier level, that voucher is then worth 150,000 points. So I tend to stick at silver tier level, so that's 150,000 points. Every year I spend over £10,000 on my credit card, so once a year I get that voucher. So that's 150,000 points for things that I was spending anyway. So that's vouchers. The next way that I've got points is quite contentious. I know a lot of people will say, absolutely not doing this. It's a rip-off, spending far too much money, but you can buy points. You'll see it on the website, on the Virgin website, and it will say something on the lines of, if you are close to your next destination, you can buy points. The only time that I buy points is at least once a year, if not twice a year. Virgin have a sale. So each year you can buy up to 100,000 points. During this sale period, you can buy up to 200,000 points. And during that sale, they also then give you bonus points. So if you buy over 100,000 points, they'll give you an extra 70% bonus points. So I always buy 200,000 points, so I get 140,000 bonus points. So once a year, I buy 200,000 points, giving me 340,000 points. It's not cheap, but I know them points are then there, and this all adds into how I then spend my points. So not for everybody, but another way that you can get points, and certainly a way that I've used in the past, and I will probably use again in the future. And the last way that I've got points is through my Tesco club card. I sort of stumbled across this. I was not aware this was a thing. So like a lot of people, we have a Tesco club card. We don't shop that much at Tesco's, but I do fill the car up there. So I use the club card, and I think, is it every 3 months, I believe you get sent vouchers. But if you mess about on your settings in Virgin Red, instead of getting those vouchers sent to you for groceries, you can automatically transfer your Tesco Club card points to Virgin points. So just another way of getting more points for something that you've already spent anyway. So there's just a quick overview of how I get points. I just want to finish this video off. I want to try and keep it shortish, but I just want to finish it off by giving a very brief introduction into how you can spend points and how I spend my points. As far as I'm aware, there is 3 ways that you can spend points. Firstly, going back to the Virgin Red app, you can buy Virgin Experience Day using your points. You can go to a music gig spending some of your Virgin points. I've never done that, but I know that you can. The second way is a way that I've not done either. I've had it explained to me in the past when I've been in the Virgin store, when I was buying a package holiday, that I could use points towards my overall cost. I believe it was 3,000 points for £15, £15 off the cost of your holiday. So if you got those points, you can reduce the amount that you have to pay in cash. Again, I've never used it. The third and final way that I'm aware of is the way that I constantly use, and that's buying a reward seat. So I'm not going to go into it too much today because I want to do that third video in this little mini series to explain how we get our flights. So I'll explain that more in the next video. But very basically, I use the reward seats. And for those that already use it, you'll know exactly how to use it. For those that don't, please tune in for the next video where I'll show you an example of how we book a holiday or book a trip over to Vegas using these points. Right, I'll call it there. Hopefully this has been of use to some people. You know, like I say, there is a few questions that pop up every now and again on social media about flying points. This is purely aimed at Virgin Atlantic. I don't fly British Airways. If you do fly British Airways, then there's the Avios program, which I'm imagining is very similar to what I've just explained there about Virgin. So hopefully some people have found this useful. But thank you for watching, and I'll catch you anon.